Just a quick sound check before we start things off. Can everybody hear me all right? If you can just put in the chat box if sound is loud and clear. Right, brilliant. Some people would have heard some of our webinars there before, so just a couple of basic things, housekeeping. Any queries whatsoever, you just put them in the chat box. I will come back to those. How I'm running these webinars, I tend to do about 15 to 20 minutes worth of content, and then we'll come back to questions at the end. So I'm going to share my screen with you, all being well, and then obviously we'll just run through things from there and go through the next steps. Now, I'm going to start with my screen share here, and let's hope this all goes well. You should be able to see quite a small image, but hopefully, once this... can everybody see that all right? And I appreciate it's small, but it was the best image I could get from a health side of things. But can you see like a few wavy lines there? Everybody see that all right? Right, brilliant. People have been on, say, one of the previous webinars would have seen this already. But I actually start, and for those that weren't on the cash flow webinar there on Wednesday, I start with a lot of people with this line here. Now, this line here is meant to be the sort of curves we're going to be facing with regards to COVID-19, depending on different courses of action. So you're going to see here, there's a red line there, which dips down and then stops. And there's another one here, a green line, and so you've got the blue line filtering through there as well. Now, the reason why I start with this, I think it's worthwhile us all recognising that with regards to times we're facing, once the lockdown is lifted, that may not mean the end of all of this. There may well be a second and third wave. There might just be a second wave. The second wave may be significantly less, may not even be noticeable. But we are really in uncertain times. But I think with the strategy we adopt, and how we adapt in the current times will help us best prepare for those second and third waves if they come about. But the main thing for us personally as business owners is to make sure we're in the strongest possible position, because, as I say, there is a very positive outlook out there, the fact that things are going to come back with a bit of a bang from a business perspective. So we are hoping things are going to, there's going to be a steep curve the other side. But naturally, there is uncertainty around this, but I think it is worthwhile just highlighting that there. So just moving forward from there, I'm actually now going to move on just for a second to something else where I want to just focus our efforts a little bit. And hopefully people can just see a dashboard there. Can everybody see that okay? Maybe just put in the chat box that's filtered across, all right, and I hope it's a lot clearer. Right, brilliant. So what I'm saying to business owners at this moment in time is information is critical. Like what it is to say from a health perspective, it massively is from a business perspective as well. So there is a bit of software we use where it extracts the 7 key measures out of every single business. But you do have to go back to a couple of basics before we even go into a lot of detail on this. So with every business there now, every business owner should have a little bit more time on their hands, depending on which industry they're in, to really get to grips with the data, to dig a little bit deeper and to understand what's happened, why has it happened, and then obviously take action there now to influence how that happens differently going forward. And this is where you can pivot your business in these current times with regards to where you move things. So this dashboard here takes 7 key measures with regards to a business. Morning, Penny, hello. So within that there, the first measure it has looked at is revenue growth. So what that's looking at there, that's looking at the period of time, and it's looking to say, right, okay, what's the revenue growth for this period in time compared with the previous one? So I'm actually going to change. So this is all dummy data here. So I've set this up. So it's looking at 12 months. So what this is looking at is, right, okay, for the 12 months, 31st of March 2020, where is revenue compared with the 12 months prior to that? So that's looking at saying the 66.51% revenue growth. And to say this sort of green mark in there is showing what that compares to the year prior to that. And I'm just going to go through all these measures very quickly, but then I'm going to put them into context of why it's so important. Similarly, it has a look at current compared with previous performance with regards to gross profit. Similar with operating profits, that's after all of your costs, not just the cost of sales. Revenue per employee, if you've got staff. Core cash target. Now, the core cash target, what that's about there, that's looking at the cash you're going to need within your business to cover costs over, roughly speaking, a two-month term. Cash days is how quickly cash comes in and goes out of your business. then business return is almost a bit of a guidance with regards to the return you get for the investment in your business. Now, you might be thinking, okay, right, this all sounds great, but how do I calculate it? Well, to start off with, this bit of software feeds directly into Xero and does the calculations for you. And there's guidance for this for how the calculations work, but that's not the point of this call. And this is something else before I go on to what we're really going to focus on. There is a limitation to this because this is all based on historical data prior to all of this coming about. So if we were looking forward and this hadn't come about, then great, we could obviously do certain things with these measures. But I say that's not the case. We're looking at a very different sort of landscape going forward. But it does allow us to delve into that data a lot more to understand why things have went well, why things have went badly, and dig a little bit in amongst this. So let's have a look at revenue growth. You can take a step back and say, prior to all of this, why did your revenue move the way it did? Because off the back of that, we're going to face a very different world when this lockdown lifts. What sort of lessons can you learn to make sure those lessons are repeated the other side of this in the new world we're now facing? In terms of gross profit margin, if you actually have a look at your gross profit margin, you can say, right, what did I make the most margin on? And most importantly, why? How are you going to adjust your business to the other side of this curve when we come out to maintain that margin, to better that margin, to make sure you're best prepared? Operating profit, factor in all of those costs, admin costs and them all. And again, I know I touched upon this the webinar on Wednesday. Based on those costs incurred, which costs incurred do you not need to incur? Which costs incurred can you get more value from? Which costs incurred do we need to invest a little bit more in? I mean, again, we're in unprecedented times there now, and I'm going to mention it a little bit further on, but maybe now strangely is the time to invest in a degree of marketing, or at least some exposure out there with your business to make sure there's a return on that. So it might actually be a case of now's the time to spend. Because I say people need to know you are still there and there is still a presence there. But also you're going to have to adapt a little bit. And I'm going to use our business as a bit of an example. With regards to marketing, we invested a lot in marketing. We did a lot across social media. But at this moment in time, social media, and I'm sure many people have found this, is very draining. The amount of content on there is phenomenal. And it's almost a case, and the terminology at the minute is cutting through the noise. If you did a paid-for advert on social media now, compared with having done one just say a month prior or 2 months prior, I believe the impact of that would be severely, it would be very, very different to what it would be beforehand, because your messages aren't sitting there for very long because there's constant flow of information. You've only got to have WhatsApp groups with friends and family, and the amount of videos and things like that. It's like, just send us something which is actually of value. But social media is the same sort of thing. So if you're going to market, now might be the time to market, but you might have to market differently. And again, pivot your business with regards to the message, with regards to how you approach that. And again, it can help you take the right course of action. Now, take a step forward. Again, revenue per employee. It's a fascinating concept, the idea of revenue per employee for those with staff. But now you can almost start with a little bit of time in your hands. Start with a blank bit of paper. And even if you haven't got employees, look at yourself personally. Start with a blank bit of paper and think, how much money did you generate for your business? And why? And with that blank bit of paper, what do you want to change about you, your staff, etc., to extract more money from them, to extract the maximum value from them when this time passes? So create the job role which they are best suited to, rather than force them into a job role which was created and they've suddenly been found to try and position themselves around that. But also be prepared. The jobs needing to be done and what customers are going to need from you could be very different the other side of this. Could be delayed. I mean, based on those curves, as you've seen there before, what they need, the message and the medium in which it gets out there and what they actually get back to you, totally different. So again, bear that in mind, because if you replicate what you did before, and that may not work, but at least the lessons prior can be used as a springboard and guidance for the next step beyond that. So then in terms of core cash target, a critical one, this in the webinar on Wednesday, is massive alongside of this. But you need to understand what sort of money you are going to need both now to see you past this time frame, but also the other side of this, because if you're going to invest in marketing, what's going to be the needs in your business to make sure that marketing pays? Because the last thing you want to do is get a deluge of work and not be in a position to service it. So understand that and actually have a look at it, which feeds into cash days in terms of how quickly money is going to go out and how quickly money is going to come in. You have to be appreciative once this time passes. Say suppliers that you regularly deal with, their approach to you may well be very, very different. And I don't mean this in a very negative way, because it's going to be understandable, but the days of them giving you 30, 60, 90 days credit may well change because they may be financially no longer in a position to be able to offer that. So it's not that they're being nasty towards it, it's just because they may not be able to do that. But if you prepare now for that, at least you can obviously prepare for what you can offer and what you can do to finance that in terms of moving forward. Now, the final bit in terms of there's business return. Let's make sure your business is of value. And it's the final bit, but it's worthwhile kind of encompassing within that. Make sure your business is of value and is seen as of value, because all of us have a long-term plan here. There's no reason why we can't get back on track with regards to that. I'm not saying we're just going to behave as normal, because we're not. We need to pivot. And I'm not saying as soon as this lockdown's lifted, just go back to normality, because the new normality is going to be very, very different, in my opinion. But let's not forget about that and make sure your efforts are rewarded. And this is where the pivoting side of things comes in. So let's reshape your business. Let's have a look at these metrics as a guidance. Let's use these lessons from the past to shape the future. Let's make those changes now. The fact you've got the time, the resource, the knowledge, the expertise, and the support from our end as well. So we are offering support beyond this call to try and help you do that, to make sure you've got a better business off the back of this. So rather than say just kind of accept it, and rather than us just provide support, let's strike back. Let's really hit this hard, and let's use this time wisely to make a better, stronger business for you. So in terms of doing that, I'm going to just show you something on here. This is where something like this comes in. So what you can start doing is you can start modeling different things. You might say, right, okay, well, if I can improve my revenue by, say, 15%, what impact does that have on profit? What impact does that have on cash? And then so you can go to all the other measures and do some other things in amongst this as well. Now, I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on this, because I can do this on a one-to-one basis outside this call. But alongside this, you can actually put in place an action plan. So you start within this option here, start putting in place the actions which are going to justify and warrant what your proposals here are going to do, which then brings levels of accountability for what you're committing to. Because we cannot all just step back and just expect this to happen. We need to take the lead with regards to this. And when it does work or when it doesn't work, you're going to know why, because you're going to have your plan and you're going to hold yourself accountable against that plan. But it's all of that's within this. But it's let's start deciding how we do that, put in place a plan, the steps, everything around that, and hold yourself accountable against it. But start seeing the impact on it and measuring things and testing things whilst minimizing the risk factor. But it's a great time to do that now, which leads me on to, and hopefully you have seen this document here. Can everybody see that document? All right, again, I'll just double check. You should be able to, it's on the same screen, but can everybody see that all right? If you can just put in the chat box. Yep, great. Right, so this document here is about the small business help we're looking to provide to clients. So with regards to this has got a step-by-step approach to help you devise that strategy, to help you take a step back from those figures and actually take the right course of action, understand your business better if you've ever understood it before, to strike back, to fight back, and be best positioned when we're past the lockdown to have a better business for it. So I'm going to skim read over this because everybody's got access to this already. But there's a few other things I want to do outside of this. But I want to just go down this. So it's got some major things there. So again, it's got about the key numbers. So there's a little bit within the appendix there. So this is put together alongside the software guys we work with. The vision. Now we're going to say the vision is revisit your vision. A lot of people start in business with a vision, and the vision that's then ultimately created is kind of led by the customers rather than them. And often it just goes on the back foot. And then the vision which actually gets created is one very different from the one you started with. On the flip side of things, you might actually kind of be on path with that vision and things be going great. But with the current climate and the new world we're going to enter into, again, it's going to be a very different place. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to pivot your vision to factor that in. But great opportunities lie out there in the current climate. Obviously, I mentioned there the action plan. Leadership. Again, I've got a couple of bits on leadership here. But let's just scroll down this a little bit more because I'll go into those screens a little bit more detail. But have a look through this. So there's the key numbers and the description of those. I've touched upon those. I'll let you guys read through those separately. But here is the action plan. I've started to touch upon there before. So go through that and decide. There's just one thing in terms of monthly outgoings, which I've touched upon already. But start having those plans there. So in terms of monthly outgoings, commit a date in terms of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, the actions you're going to take, and as you have some metrics behind that. So again, there's logic behind your decisions to give you better guides support for going forward. So in terms of monthly outgoings, have a look at the date, the details, the cost, Can the amount be cancelled? And I'm going to use an example for us. With EDF are our electricity suppliers in the offices. We pay about £350 a month. Naturally, our offices are closed. We're all working remotely. So I just spoke to them yesterday. So their details cost £350 a month. Can the amount be cancelled? No, it cannot be cancelled, but I could have a fair discussion with them because I'm not getting any service for it. If I'm still getting service for it, I think we've got every right to say, well, no, we're still giving you a service, and we are pivoting as a business, like we are as a accounts firm, we're pivoting, but we're not. Can't be cancelled. Can it be reduced? Yes, it can. So I'll reduce that down to £10 a month. That's one hell of a saving. But remember the things which stood in your way prior to all of this. What stood in your way was hundreds of other things which were always on your plate, hundreds of other things which always needed doing. A lot of those things have now disappeared. But again, you know what it's like when you think things and like, oh, what was I thinking again? When you think something, document it, hold yourself accountable against it, and start taking action to do those things you didn't previously have time to do to streamline your business. So when you come back, you've got no excuses. But work through that, put an action plan there, hold yourself accountable against it, and again, the things you learn about you, yourself, and your business will be phenomenal. So scroll down the action plan. Again, you can start seeing the various bits of support around that as well. There's a bit of guidance on costs to say, again, giving you the sort of questions to ask. Now, again, on the cost side of things, this is a brilliant exercise, this in your business. Again, I've tried to put that there just to get you asking yourself the right sort of questions. And so say if you've got overheads, can you reduce overheads? How might you go about doing that? Can you delay capital expenditure, which you've already committed to? If you can't delay capital expenditure, you've already got that bit of equipment, bit of machinery, whatever that is. Can you use that as a source for attracting finance and use that as security to get that money back in the bank temporarily? You could do that. I'll skip through some of these now, so I'll just highlight the main ones. How much less will you sell in terms of that? What sort of impact you think your customer base, what sort of impact is that going to be? Will you lose customers? Which customers will you lose? What sort of discount do you need to offer? What costs can you reduce? Staffing-wise, what are you going to do with those? And again, staffing-wise, I mentioned structure-wise, let's say descriptions and what they are doing for you. Again, have a think about the message you give to them. Because again, it's critical to get this message right. Because, I mean, I've seen it already. The likes of Tate Walker furloughing a lot of their staff. Like for me as a person, like, wow, how is that message delivered to the staff to make sure the staff know they've got a job on the other side? How is that message delivered to clients to make sure that they still have confidence in that same business and they're still around and it's done for the right reasons? Go down a bit further. How can you raise sales invoices as soon as possible? There's lots of things. I'm going to come on to selling as well in a little while as well. But a key message there, you can only control the controllables. But I say, by having a deluge of stuff, you don't know where to focus. We need that focus, we need that clarity, so you pivot the right way in your business to come back stronger. There's a lot of business owners out there, particularly ones that aren't necessarily on this call, and they're doing nothing. They're not sure what to do, they're not sure where to turn. This is where they need to turn. I'm happy. Anyone wants to share this document with anybody you know, share it. It's absolutely fine. It's on the newsletters. Just share it. I don't mind whatsoever. But it's now's the time to try and control the controllables and take action. So vision. Have a look at the activities within your business and categorize those are important and urgent. And off the back of that, do the urgent things first, the important things after. That sounds like a simple sort of concept. And most of the things in this, I'm not teaching you some fantastic thing or something which you're not going to understand. It's simple concepts, but make sure you are doing the right things at the right time rather than being overwhelmed by this. Because some people are going to go from being really busy in business to doing nothing to then, all right, I've got all these things to do. What do I do first? Just start with a list. They say version 1's better than version 0, and don't always aim for perfection. If you're going to aim for perfection, you're going to miss it. And again, if you're aiming for perfection, you're going to be too late by the time you get there. Some action is better than no action as long as it's sensible action. And this sort of framework I'm providing is with, which is already kind of come through to you, is what I'm running through with you there today, gives you the best opportunity to do that. So again, I'm going to keep reiterating this term, you pivot your business correctly. Now going down this, getting creative. And I love this this page here because it's and again, this impacts businesses in different ways. But have a think about this. What can you do? And I'm going to change the term slightly to offline and online. But what can you do whilst you're physically trading in terms of from premises now? What can you do whilst you're not physically trading? So I'll use the online and offline example, but then I'm going to use the other example in terms of where it's not necessarily web-based. But like say you were a personal trainer. Previously, as say, they were able to obviously do one-to-one training sessions. Now they're doing Facebook groups. But what they can do is do a live stream on Instagram to get the benefit of both worlds in terms of that. So let's say, for example, a business which isn't necessarily web-based, but how can you support your business if you are not physically trading from those premises? Well, what support can you provide to people via Zoom, via training sessions, via guidance documents like what I've prepared for you there before? Well, that alone allows you to merge those two circles together and come to the other side of this. When you pivot your business, you can continue to do those because you can get messages to people in bulk very, very fast. So, for example, for the people on this call, the majority of which are clients, some of which aren't, but for those clients, I could have picked up the phone to every single one of you and done this presentation. Now, imagine the time that would have taken if I spent 30 minutes with you individually, compared with me presenting it to you there now. How much quicker and slicker is this by doing this operation there now? So much quicker. You can do the same thing with your clients. But then that one-to-one support and that valuable time that I do spend with you is going to be off the back of you having already done this. So it's going to be a personal touch in terms of this to make the relevant impact within your business. So I'm going to be super efficient off the back of this. I'm going to maximize the value I give back to you. You can do the same within your business. So even when this time passes, you can maintain certain things, how you adapt your business in this new world and how you restructure your business to do that the other side of this. There's no reason to go back to where you were. Go back to how you're going to be. You can have a little bit passionate about this as well, naturally. So I've mentioned action plan. I say build that in there. There's a financial support. I put a summary section within that for you there. There's links there as well, so you can jump onto this document. Anybody that hasn't seen this document, like I say, go onto the newsletter. Anybody not registered for our newsletter, if you go onto our website, you can get the historical newsletters off the back of that. And I can't send you a PDF again if there's any issues with regards to that as well. I've got a page on leadership where, again, talks about leadership skills. There's some great tips around that with regards to how you can lead. And again, sometimes you might think, well, I am a one-man band or one-woman band in terms that leadership doesn't apply to me. Well, I disagree, because I think leadership applies to everybody. You have to be seen as being the leader and the expert in your field. That same level of leadership applies to when you are dealing with your customers. So by all means, everybody needs to be strong on this. Otherwise, how can your customers have confidence in you? Just going a step further, there's a few more links there. Again, some links to technology. There's a bit around marketing there as well for how you can market your business, to say. And on this here, again, it leads me on to one of the other points, which is I've mentioned a couple of times on previous slides. But everybody at this moment in time feels that it's the wrong time to sell. And I'll be honest with you, it's always the wrong time to sell. Because I say, in terms of selling, people hate being sold to, people like to buy. So when you're marketing, market to people in a way which makes them want to buy from you rather than selling to them. When you're selling to somebody, and again, you will get some success. I'm not going to say this doesn't always work, but when you are selling to somebody, think of the success rate. Think of if I said to you there now, would you like to buy this TV there now? Or if I gave you all the benefits of the TV in a way which meant you want to buy the TV, the message is very, very different. The same thing applies with regards to staff and people you work with. If you get the buy-in from them rather than impose it upon them, and be quite dictatorial in terms of the buy-in is very, very different. So if you work this marketing message correctly, you can really do well off the back of this. So off the back of that, what I would say is provide a lot of support, provide a lot of presence, because what you do now will be remembered the other side of this. So that's your marketing. We as a firm are providing one heck of a lot of free support and free resource. There's no hidden agenda. There's nothing like that there. But we are doing this so clients know we were stood alongside them when we got the other side. We stuck our necks on the line. We incurred cost, time, everything around that. But clients will hopefully remember that. And that's why we are doing it. So when we come up the other side, I want to hit that boom whereby all of our clients are still with us. All of our clients are still trading, and we've given them the best possible chance to continue to start trading. And that is a cost to us. And I appreciate that. I take that burden on, and that's a decision I've made. But there is going to come a time where I am going to have to say, right, guys, if you want anything over and beyond these webinars and the 30-minute one-to-ones after that, there may well be a charge, because naturally we are all business owners. And at that point there, I've given everybody the best possible chance to support them around this. At that point there, it's a case of we can have a conversation to see whether the value is there. But hopefully the value is demonstrated in a way whereby people can possibly say, yeah, you know what it is, you've done that, great, I can do this, I'm cool with that, fantastic, great. But it's okay to encourage people to buy from you and say, look, I say, is this something relevant? Is this something there? But do it in the right way. If you're just selling it in there now, that's not the right thing to do. And I don't have any intentions of us doing that because I don't think that's the right way to go about. But support them, work through things with them, give them documents, give them guidance. And if they want things over and beyond that, where you are going to incur further costs beyond those you've absorbed yourself, at that point, that's a very fair conversation to have. But it is still okay to market. It is still okay to try and get new business. And there will be a point where you're going to have to charge for things because that is just business full stop. We can't all go out of business, but do it the right way. But don't sell to people. Try to give the value there so people buy from you. And that same message needs to continue beyond this. But now more than ever, maintain that presence because you will be remembered off the back of it. And you will be stronger for it as well. And the final bit is in terms of slides, I've got a bit of breathing. Let's see. Breathe, be calm, put in place steps so you do this the right all at the right time, get some exercise, get some fresh air, make sure you've got that mental strength. I'm still doing quite a bit of exercise, running, other things alongside that. And again, that's making me so much more stronger in my business. So there's some tips around that as well. But it is critical to do that. And the final thing before I go to questions is consolidate what we've discussed today. Build your own action plan with regards to things and discuss and plan that routine the best you possibly can, because routine is still critical to make sure you use this time wisely. Use this time to absorb the facts, the information, because there's deluge out there. So please, first and foremost, I am a little bit selfish on this, but that's the reason why I'm doing this and why you guys work with me. Focus on what we've got there. Don't focus on the things online, all these other rumors, everything else like that. There's a clear structure and a strategy we've adopted with all of our clients for very, very good reason. And we too, as a business, are following this exact same strategy as well. So please do follow that. Please do go through that step by step. Please hold yourself accountable against it, and don't waste this opportunity because it's a massive opportunity, and it will help you bounce back out the other side and give you the best possible chance. And I do need to stress the best possible chance because not all businesses will necessarily survive this. So let's not butter this up and pretend it's something which it's not. But this will give you the best possible chance to not just come out the other side, but come out the other side stronger. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. Thank you very much, Wendy. And there's plenty more to come. And I say, next steps to say for everybody, I would like people to try and book that 30 minutes in my diary to want to absorb this so we can get that one-to-one session, have a bit of a chat, work through things and make sure that you are embracing the things within that document. Just a point there. In terms of different trade landscape, right, in terms of what do I think in terms of the landscape is going to be, I think that's going to vary industry by industry. And I might sound like a politician saying that, but do I think more people are going to be buying online? Maybe in certain industries. I think having that flexibility in your business to be online, I think is critical just to be prepared for waves 2 and 3 should they come about. But I think everybody's going to adapt in a different way. So some people are going to be very cautious about going to any event or anything like that, or any place where there's going to be a handful of people there, because outside of the supermarket, it's going to be a case of, am I still exposed to people with COVID-19? And that's something you're going to have to realise and recognise with any business to make sure that you adapt to that. How people buy, well, the government's put financial support in place there, so hopefully, provided this gets to people soon enough, people will still be in a financial position to buy from you as a business. But how they survive in the interim might mean that delay in them having the funds to buy from you might mean that should the lockdown be lifted after 3 months, it's 6 before you start seeing money come through. But I think, and this is something, a great use of that 30-minute call, I am happy to discuss and it's only my thoughts and interpretation, so see, I could be totally wrong because we're all working on the best information we possibly can, but I'm happy on that 30-minute call to work through with you individually where I think for your businesses personally, you'll be impacted, how best you can accommodate that and how best you can pivot your business. So I'm happy to do that on a one-to-one basis. Link in terms of the cash flow side of things, yeah, no problem at all, Craig. We'll get that sorted. And again, we'll sort as part of the call. So just book in the call, we'll check everything's working and get that sorted for you as well. So any more questions? just something in terms of booking that time in the diary, the link's on my email. So if you just use that link just to book something, you can see my availability for next week. Just book that straight in, just rather than ring the office, because bless the office, obviously they're swamped already. But as I say, you can just to say go straight through that link, book some time in the diary, see my availability, just book a 30-minute slot in there, and we will rattle through all of that as well. In terms of that software there, yes, it is available there now. I will provide that to you should you want it. And again, I can set it up as part of the call, so I'll do it there and then on a one-to-one basis, so I can walk through the basics with you whilst having the document alongside. So rather than to do it individually there now, I'll use the call as being something which I can run through with you. Again, I can see Mark's query there with regards to housing. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, we work closely with the Help to Buy scheme, and to be honest, they're a little bit all over the place at the best of times with regards to the Help to Buy scheme. Where are things going to be? Well, it's going to be dictated largely by the mortgage companies as well for how quickly they are going to release money for people buying the houses. In addition to that, it's going to be interesting to see how the mortgage companies adapt their evaluation process with regards to people's wages, because if people have been furloughed or haven't worked for 3 months, how's the mortgage application going to work with regards to that? So it's going to be really, really interesting in terms of that. But again, Mark, let's get that call booked in, and I'll work that through with you as well. Iraj, I've just seen there. Are landlords considered self-employed for government support? No. Landlords, unfortunately, at this current point in time, are left unsupported with regards to things. It's on the self-employed webinar ran there this morning. Even if they did change things, there is still a restriction with regards to the percentage of income which must come via self-employment. But no, landlords in terms of property income, that's not treated as self-employment, that's treated as property income as things stand at the moment. Because being a landlord myself, I'm in exactly the same boat. And currently, I say there's zero support as a landlord, except if you've got the commercial premises, and you can get the £10,000 to £25,000 grant if you qualify for small business rates relief. With regards to limited company director support around that, again, very limited. The best thing is here, limited company support. If you jump on our website, there's an up-to-date link for that, and it tells you what support's there and how you can get access to that. So, I mean, one thing just to finish off on limited companies, this is where the interest-free loan for 12 months with the government, that is definitely a strong consideration. We are helping people with regards to accessing that, though the banks are proving challenging, shall we say, with regards to certain aspects of that. For understandable reasons, mind as well, because they're stretched resource-wise, because nobody could have possibly prepared for this. So any final questions off the back of it, other than obviously kind of getting those times to the diary? But like I say, have a look at the signature on my email. Even those people that say aren't clients who want to book some time down just to chat through things, I'm happy to have a chat with you off the back of this. But just click on that link, book some time in. If you can't do next week, do the week after. I'm trying to clear my diary for those 2 weeks the best I possibly can do to have those calls with you. So there's nothing more. Thank you very much, everybody, for being on this call. Any more queries, give me a shout back. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I say, just I wish everyone else luck, as Lee has done there as well. And let's just say pivot. Let's not stand still. Let's pivot. Let's do everything we possibly can, and let's be stronger for it. So thank you much, everybody.